Right, Joel, thank you very much. Let's pick up here. The National Union of Metalworkers of South Africa's infighting is costing Toyota some 500 vehicles a day. Now, the union's illegal strike has brought its Durban assembly plant to a standstill. Toyota South Africa says it hopes it does not have to retrench anyone. Now, to get an update on this, NUMSA KZN Regional Secretary NGUBANE talks to us from our Durban studios now. NGUBANE, thank you very much for your time. What exactly is the problem within NUMSA?
Thank to you. Firstly, let's say that it is unfortunately that our members to enter into an illegal strike after being frustrated by the employer because at a time when, as leadership, we wanted to intervene when our members were refusing to work overtime, the employer would have rejected our intervention, stating that they were still handling the matter internally. At a time even when our shop steward would have reported to us formally that they've reached a deadlock internally with the employer continued to ignore, and then to a point where our members unfortunately entered into an unprotected strike, which as a union we do not support because it makes us weak, it makes us not to be able to push their demands to a point where we think that the employer could actually deliver.
Mr. NGUBANE,
but let me then come
back
I
interrupt you there for
clarify.
A second? Let me interrupt you there for a second.
Yes.
So your assertion here is that this is a fight between your members at the company and the company's leadership. However, the story out there is that it is actually the shop stewards of NUMSA within that company who were voted out of office who are now demanding to come back. So how is that the company's problem?
Look, there's no such. We actually don't understand where does the employer actually get that information from. We do not have any internal issues. There are no internal fighting within our shop steward committee, and all of those who were not elected, they have not raised any issue openly with us or openly with the current shop steward committee. But what we could agree with the employees that at a time when our members were advancing the genuine demand of a quality bonus as a result of the miscommunication by the same employer, we did notice that there was a third party which was beginning to take advantage of those demands, wanting to, and you'll know that there have been rival unions would have wanted to recruit in Toyota for a long time. And there have been so many tricks, even at the level of COSAD, as you have seen COSAD also immediately issuing a statement in support, committing itself to defend those workers. At the time they knew that it was NUMSA that is recognized in Toyota. So we have dealt with that issue together with the employer and with our members to say we need to arrest this situation and be able to go back to work to allow normality in the company, because if should we continue, we see that there is a third party interfering. But there is no open fight within NUMSA.
Mr. NGUBANE.
There is no former shop steward that has actually come out and then said he is fighting with this and that. In short, there is no dispute with the elections of our own shop steward.
Mr. NGUBANE, firstly, who is this third party you speak about? But second to this question, this illegal strike, which you have just admitted right now that you are not in support of because it is illegal, it's costing the company 3,000 vehicles. If any retrenchments do happen, are you willing to take responsibility?
Look, we've passed that now. Yesterday, we have managed to have a meeting with our members, which was as a result of our last meeting, which we had on Sunday with the employer, where we've reached a consensus with the employers to how are we going to handle all of the matters on the table. And we've signed the agreement yesterday with the employer. As I'm talking to you, all of those workers, because not all of them were summarily dismissed, but it was about 2,895 workers were summarily dismissed last week, and then all of them are back at work today, and we've brought them back and they are going to be getting final written warning, all of them as a collective, and we think that therefore from today we'll then be able to continue our discussions and negotiations with the employer. Firstly, what we've committed is that we are going to be committed in discussing as to how do we ensure long stability within the company. Two, the question of the incentive bonus is part of what we call Masmambane Pack, and we've said we are going to be reviewing that Masmambane Pack because particularly on the lack of quality bonus, there's no transparency as to how does the employer conclude that this year workers are going to get the bonus or not, and the workers are unable as well to see whether there's fairness or not. So we're going to be entering into that process together with management. And thirdly, it's a question of how do we educate our members about the new amendment laws so that they actually begin to understand that there are procedures and processes toward declaring dispute and allow the leadership in the process to be able to provide leadership.
All right. MBUSO NGUBANE, thank you very much for your time. He is NUMSA'S KZN Regional Secretary.